Good morning, it's Friday and welcome to Summer's Way of Life. So this is another long garden update. We are now very much late April, bang in the middle of the season where really you need to be looking after your plants and vegetables every single day, because the rate at which they grow overnight is phenomenal if you're observant and aware aware of what's happening in your garden. I almost said an aware gardener, but I don't want to put a label on it. If you're somebody who loves gardening, this is the most important time of year. And I'm going to share with you what I've done since the last big garden update, and I will try very hard to keep my hands as still as possible so that it doesn't disturb your viewing enjoyment, as someone pointed out in the recent video. Okay, so first up, what I want to do is explain that today is a lunar leaf day. Those of you who've been following all the videos, which I hope you have, to make meaning, you need to be following all the videos that I do to help understand how I think and how I'm succeeding in my way of life and in the garden. It's a lunar leaf day and it's also a descending moon, so I'm working on all leaf plants. I'm going to switch this around just to show you how I'm organised. I'm very organised and I plan my entire gardening structure, but at the same time I'm also in alignment with nature's own chaotic organisation. It's really important that you understand what this means. It doesn't mean that I'm a headless chicken not knowing what I'm doing. That is what the state want us to become, and most people have become that. No, I'm very diligently organised in how I plan the gardening, but then I let nature take its course. It's a very deep conscious thing that I do, and I want to talk more about that later on in this video towards the end. For now, let me just switch this around. In the early videos I explained to you that I split everything up into the 4 categories of root, leaf, fruit and flower. Today's a leaf day, so on this calendar, this is Maria Thun. It's a biodynamic calendar 2024. I shared this in another video. I explained how I had educated myself from Rudolf Steiner's work to a very small degree. I'm still reading his work. You're always learning. And today, as you can see, we are on the 26th of April. It's a leaf day. So I'm focusing on leaf because the energy from the moon is going to help leaf plants. It's a water influence. Leaves represent water. Over here, on the last leaf day, which was good for sowing seeds before the full moon, don't get too het up about this, you can research it later, I had written down all the leaf plants and vegetables that I had sown. You've got spinach, chives, thyme, basil, rocket, and then on the fruit day, it was finishing off the leaf day in the morning, I had more leeks and kale and cabbage. Okay, so you can see I wrote down what I sowed. I gave it a label, a name, rather than put the actual details of what type of spinach, because then I can use that label again. So spinach 1, that was a perpetual chard from the Real Seeds company. And for example, here it is. Well, that was actually the cabbage, that one. That's over here. The Real Seeds pointed cabbage, and that was from this company here. And the reason for doing that is I'm always thinking afterwards, how did that do? What did I do? Is it worth sowing next time? Were the seeds from this company any good? So I'm always measuring. It's like a system I've created where I'm measuring the success. What inputs have I put in and what are the outputs? And in the middle, what kind of disturbances take place? I got that from somewhere else, and I'll explain that later, that understanding of systems, which is the magic of life. Now, over here, all my seeds together. So these are the leaf seeds. I've got far too many seeds, and I'm looking to see over the next 2 days, as it is 2 leaf days, what if there's anything I'm going to sow at all. It's not a great time to sow seeds because we're on the waning moon, but if there's anything, I'll have a look and maybe look at it, or sow it on the next good day to sow seeds, which is just before the week before the full moon. So over here, that's a full moon there that we've just had, right? And the next full moon will be a month away, which is here. So a next good time to sow leaf seeds would be the mid-May, but I want to get some in before that, so I might sow some more here and here as well. We shall see, or I might sow some today. I will make a call on it. Now let's go out in the garden and let me explain to you what I've done since the last garden update, and what a change it's been. So let's head. Don't know how good the light is for you, but you can see here in the raised bed there is so much going on. Now, I had lots and lots of onion plants growing in the greenhouse. Can you see how many there are? They're everywhere. They're tiny, but you can see, look. And I've planted them all out, and it took me so long. It takes forever because you have to take them out very carefully from the seed trays. I don't disturb the root, but it's the time. You see, I am convinced that it's the lunar time that I transplanted them, and in the afternoon, that will help them succeed. It's always worked. Otherwise, normally when you transplant, it can be when you're a new gardener, you don't know what you're doing and things don't work. But I'm going to show you evidence that everything I've put in so far is doing well. Look at these peas. They were transplanted and they're doing so well. Even these wonderful, I'm just going to use my hands to show you these onions. Look, they look healthy, they're upright, they haven't fallen. Leeks as well. I also transplanted these baby carrot seeds. I thinned them out, but I took the thinnings and I put them into the raised bed. Can you see? I'm just trying to see if you can see. There, we put my hand on it. Here are the carrots. So I've sown them here, and that's where they're going to stay, and I've got more to do. Then over here, I've got calendula. Calendula are flowers. They're like, they call them pot marigolds. These are Indian Prince daisy looking like flowers. And of course, they provide great companion planting for all these vegetables. I think they do well with peas and brassicas and carrots, and they just keep the carrot fly away and other things. So I dotted these around in the vegetable raised bed. There's some more here, calendula. Right, I love flowers that have a function and that have colour. I love orange, and also you can even eat the leaves. Marigolds as well have a lot of other healing benefits. So I try and think when I'm planting flowers, I like the colour, I like how they work with the land and how they work with nature and the plants, companion planting, pest control, and you can even eat them. They're a medicine for us as well. So let me know. You can see the hens are making a lot of noise because I'm here. Right, over here I've got kale. It's a leaf day today, and these I sowed, and honestly I'm looking at them thinking, which is the kale, which is the weed? So a simple search. I know this is a weed because it's everywhere. This was my own homemade compost, which is not weed free, but nonetheless seeds are growing. So I'm going to look after this tray today. Perfect time to do it. Remove the weeds, and then later I'm going to repot any baby kale leaves, that plant seedlings that have come out. This to me looks like either a tomato or a marigold. I don't know what it's doing in the kale tray, but a seed must have been somewhere in the compost. Over here, I've got rocket. I've got 2 big pots of rocket, and I'm going to repot this into a much bigger pot so that it grows and expands. And honestly, oh my God, they just taste so delicious. I eat a lot of my plants and vegetables when I'm in the garden. They're so delicious. I can't tell you. Let me show you the other pot. I'm trying to do this very slowly. Here it is. See, it's a much bigger terracotta pot, not kale, this is rocket. And of course, you can see how beautifully it's growing. I'm going to leave it out in the sun now, certainly this morning. And I'm not going to repot this. This is doing well, but I'm going to start cutting baby leaves off and eating them in salads. Salad season is coming, but how healthy does it look that you just go out and cut your own rocket in the greenhouse? Do you remember those okra seeds? Well, they're doing really well. So, and in this one, this is the Indian okra, only 2 survived, 2 died, but what I'm doing now, they need heat. We don't have a lot. I'm covering them like this with a propagator lid, and that seems to have helped. These ones are doing quite well too. So I'm just being very careful with them. They need a lot of TLC. And these ones are doing quite well too. Right. What else can I show you? I've also, you can see here, everything's got lids on, because on the last flower day, the last couple of days, I sowed more seeds. So I've sowed cosmos, another beautiful flower. I love cosmos. And then I've sown more calendula. See, what I did is I took the calendula out. Let me explain this. The calendula that had already grown, I planted out. And then I used the same seed tray. I added a little bit more soil. See, I'm managing my time effectively because I love calendula and I want to give some away to neighbours and especially my parents who are old now. Mum can't do her own gardening so easily, so I want to help her. So I've put another load in, and not the best time to sow seeds, but it doesn't matter. I've done that. I did the same with marigolds. I repotted over here. Down here, I have repotted all the marigolds. I think these are the marigolds. Yes, the tomatoes are down below. So marigolds and tomatoes can look very, very similar. So I repotted them all. These are the tomatoes. And these are marigolds. Don't they look similar? Well, they're not, but just at a first look, they look similar. So I repotted all the marigolds, and then in the same seed tray that they over here, what I did is I sowed a whole load more. Let me open this one. This one were some of the marigolds I had before that hadn't grown very big. So what I did here is I just added a bit more soil, nurtured them and put more seeds in. And I'm hoping that the existing marigolds will kind of speak to this unborn seedlings, help them sprout faster. It's a little bit of an experiment, and I'm going to see how it goes and how I do with it. The other thing I want to show you is catnip. There's another name for it. A herb, catswort I think it's called, I can't remember. And I had these as seeds. This was a plant that I had before, you can see. Cats love this and they were coming to eat this. It's like a little bit of a cat cocaine. But I know we can also have it in teas and things. Over here, these ones around, these were seedlings. I grew from seed and they've grown, and I've just popped them in here with mummy plant over here. Well, it's not mummy plant, it's one that I bought. But I've popped them in here, and hopefully it will give them the boost and energy to grow when they metaphorically get in touch with the roots of the already established plant. This is how I do things. I work things out for myself. Cabbages, I repotted them and they're doing really well. Look at, I don't want to tread on things. Look at these cabbages. How healthy. Now, I'd like you to notice how healthy these are. Look, they're so healthy and vibrant. I mean, I know it's not easy to see on a video, but they're just so alive and healthy as seedlings. And I know it's because of the right lunar day. I'm giving them the best chance.
These are all the broccoli. Broccoli comes under flower, so does cauliflower. I repotted these. There were so many in a pot. I took out the weak ones and then I repotted the best ones. I'm not putting them outside yet because the weather's still erratic. And look how healthy they are. They're just stunningly beautiful. Right, finally. Oh, let me just... I also repotted the beetroot. Again, I haven't put that out in the earth because if we're due to get some really heavy winds again, it's crazy, end of April in the UK, it's all the geoengineering. So I've put them out in pots. I thinned them out and I've still put them out in pots, and I'm going to wait till May. They're acclimatizing now. Let me turn this around. And over here are all the beetroot. There's quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 15 beetroot, 16 beetroot plants. And I pickle these. And I'm going to wait till May, early May, on the next root day. Hopefully descending moon. I'll have to take a call on it. If it's not descending, I'll see. And I'm going to pop these into the ground. Beetroot are lovely pickled. I love them pickled. And I just put them in a pressure cooker for half an hour with just a little bit of water. Peel them raw. And then I take them out and then I pop them in white vinegar. That's it. I've even got a whole mason jar of the vinegar, the beetroot vinegar that's left from last year where I used up all the beetroot. It's delicious. You've got to try it, or you can use it in your own pickling recipe. But it's so good for your health. I could talk about the importance of fermented products, probiotics for your health if you just have a little bit of fermented food every single day, which I do. These are all things I'm going to talk about with you another time. This is how I live my way of life. It's why my mum and dad have gone through so much, but they're still alive, because everything they eat is home cooked, homemade, home prepared, very similar to the way that they used to live back in India, in terms of quality ingredients, as far as you can get in this country. Now, do you remember that I showed you the potatoes only 2 or 3 days ago, and I said I'm going to layer them up, and I said I'm going to put more chicken manure in and straw? Well, look, it's been 4 days, just 4 days, and if you remember how they looked then, look at them now. Look how much they have grown. It's ridiculous. I'm talking like 3 inches, 4 inches. This is in the driveway. I'm in my driveway. It's a shared driveway, but you see the other side of it. If I take you here, the driveway faces the sun. So I'm using every part of the sunlight that I can, and I don't have a lot of land, but you know, I'm improvising, and the potatoes are very happy here because they're facing the sunlight. It's on them right now, and that's the way to do it. See, there's all this land here in the driveway, and I can put pots down. I'm observing, where does the sun hit? Well, the sun hits there at that time. What can I put there? I have a great neighbour. He's not around much, so I'm just using his part of the driveway. He doesn't mind. You have to keep good relations. You have to keep good relations with your friends and your neighbours, especially your community. I'm working very hard to keep good relationships with my community. It's so important. And we're getting very close. Now, what I want to talk about with you is this very thing about building movements and working with your community. Yesterday I attended, I'm always learning, I attended an orientation live with Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. I took his systems biology course in 2020 when that awful thing hit us, and
and then I put it on hold because I had so many other things to learn and do. And now I've gone back and I've noticed how far he has come. He's also standing for presidency in the US. That's a separate point. The man is an incredible scientist, is one of the most, if not the most intelligent man in the world in terms of what he does. I'm not talking about having loads of degrees. He's got all them. It's just that what he's doing. Those of you from America, look him up, even if you're not from the US. The stuff that he talks about, what he teaches about how we can change society and bring about truth, freedom and health by proper grassroots movements. I haven't just found him today. I looked him up a long time ago and I've been studying his material. Now I'm going back to it full time because it's phenomenal. And I'm going to share his book and I'm going to share some of the videos below, and I'd ask you to take the time to look at them, not for any other reason other than that it will help change the way you think and put power into your hands, and it will teach you how important it is for you to understand the politics of society. If you care about your family and your children and their children, you've got to know this stuff. Get educated and start taking action in whatever it is you love to do. Like with me, it's my way of life. And it will really propel you forward because you're not on your own. He's now got millions of people behind him. Just because you don't hear about it is because he's being quietened down all over media. And you might find this video is quietened down as well. So share it with other people when you get this video, because otherwise the globalists are going to take over, and they already are. But there are movements happening all around the world, and the only one that I can think of with any credibility is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, and I'm an avid researcher, so check him out please and then take some action. Meanwhile, I hope you're out in your garden. I'm going to be cutting spinach today, sowing more grass seeds. It's leaf day, remember, and a lot of action today, and maybe cooking a beautiful spinach leaf, coriander leaf, fenugreek, because I've got fenugreek growing, all 3 leaves together, and I'm going to cook them with some wonderful mutton shoulder bones that I took out the freezer yesterday that have got a little bit of meat on them, but mainly it's all the bone stock and juice that I want to cook these vegetables in, and it will be the most delicious curry. And I'll add some green chilies in there and some herbs and spices, and I'll share something with you either tomorrow or later on. Have a lovely day.